Jaron Williams, you won the giveaway from last week. Enjoy the hot comics list. What's good, comic fam? Thanks for joining us today. It's the time of the week where I sit on the mic with my good friend Jem from ft.GemMintCollectibles to discuss the hottest comics in the comic book market. Hit that subscribe button. And how you feeling, Jem?
I'm feeling good, Tom. Thanks for having me on. It's good to see everybody in YouTube land. Excited to get into this list. We got some changes, some new books, some interesting data that we're going to go over. So I can't wait to jump into it.
Yeah, we got some fun stuff to break down for the comic book community. Let's actually hit them with some newsstand love. At number 10, we have one of the Venom trifecta, one of the McFarlane keys, Amazing Spider-Man 299. The second McFarlane Spider-Man, first cameo appearance of Venom. And that newsstand, that barcode is starting to matter more and more every single week. Is it not, Jem?
Yeah, and we're going to break down exactly why it matters and how much more scarce the newsstand version is compared to the direct edition. But before we jump into that, what's this thing been selling for?
We saw a big record breaker this week for a 9.8 newsstand copy selling for $1,918. To put in perspective, comic fam, this comic book could be purchased right now at 9.8, the direct market version, for $600 on eBay. And this isn't an anomaly because just last month, after 31 bids on the Comic Connect auction, a newsstand copy at 9.8 sold for $1,827. Clearly, that scarcity matters to collectors, and I think we have some more numbers to report on to make that make a little more sense.
All right, guys, follow us down this rabbit hole. We're going to try to break down just how much more scarce a newsstand edition is in 9.8 versus your regular direct market copy. Now, Amazing Spider-Man 365.
We talked about this book just 2 weeks ago, and a lot of members were confused because this is a very common book. It had a total printing, according to Comicron numbers, of near 1 million at 900,000.
Okay, so we know that 900,000 copies of ASM 365 were printed. Newsstand experts estimate that about 20 to 30% are newsstand editions. So let's just call it 25%, giving an estimated print run of 225,000 from this total 900,000.
Now that seems like a lot, but this is not a cover B, comic fam, so let's figure out why 225 doesn't actually mean that number, because newsstand copies were ones that were managed by the publisher and they had return options. These were ones that at the end of the month, they were getting marked off. Those covers were being ripped. They were being returned. They were being destroyed. They were being given away. And they were on a newsstand, so they were being touched. They were being read. With that said, experts believe that as many as 50 to as much as 80% of those newsstands didn't survive.
Let's say on the 80% end, means that there's only about 45,000 copies of those that survived versus 675,000 of the regular direct market edition.
And now when you're considering modern books with a lot of copies available, the scarcity number starts to become even more attractive. And we're not talking about a standard copy. We're talking about the 9.8s. We are looking at what could be 1 to 3% of the entire market.
And that's why we're seeing the direct market 9.8 selling for under $200, but the newsstand edition of that book selling for $1,000.
Comic fam, be up on that barcode. It's mattering seemingly more and more by the week. And Jem hit him with number 9.
All right, number 9 on the list, we're talking about a modern book, a book that we've talked about before, Edge of the Spider-Verse issue 2. We're talking about the Greg Land variant, the 1/25 ratio, which just had a record-breaking sale in 9.8 at $6,750. Now, this was via a private transaction, and it's up from its previous record of $6,000. These next generation heroes have been making major moves in the market. Even a 1/25 Jajevic variant for Ultimate Fallout 4 just sold for $1,850 in an 8.5. That's up from its previous record of $600. A 9.8 copy of Captain Marvel 17, the second print, sold for $3,305. So all of these next-gen characters making major moves.
I like that you brought up Miles Morales because comic fam, you want to notice he is not on this list today. So although we're seeing some lower grade copies impressing us, those higher grade copies are not selling nearly as much because I think collectors are keeping them in their collection, holding out for that number to creep back up.
Making its appearance for the second time on this list, coming in at number 8, it's Amazing Fantasy issue 1.
That's right, we got Anya Corazon, the first appearance of the Spider-Verse character no one was specking on, Araña. After last month's announcement that Olivia Wilde was taking a female-led Spider-Verse character to the screen, but we don't know which one, spec moved to Spider-Woman, Jessica Drew, of course, Cindy Moon, Silk, why not? But now, Araña, a more affordable Spider-Verse next-gen hero, for good reason.
Yeah, we just got done talking about 3 other next-gen heroes that have first appearances selling in the thousands. So this could potentially be one of these type of characters where you could jump in at a lower price point now.
9/8s were going for $200 before this news, and then it quickly shot up to $300, then making its way from the trending list to our hot list at $400. And after 1 week, we have new record highs at CGC 9.8s landing at $500. You know we're watching this, and the comic book community is too.
All right, number 7 on the list is a book that needs no introduction. It doesn't even need an explanation to why it's on this list. It should be on this list every week. But we're talking about Incredible Hulk 181, the first full appearance of Wolverine. Now, we're seeing some sales kind of getting back to where it was at its peak in 2018. We also have some sales in the mid-grade that are technically breaking records. So let's talk about those mid-grade books, man. The CGC 5.5 had a record sale for $2,800. Well, we had 2 sales this past week that shattered that record. The first one was $2,802. So Tom, it broke the record by $2.
Staggering.
Then we had another sale at $2,811. So now we're raising the bar up by $11 and a 5.5. Now, as far as those higher grade books, a 7.0 sold for $3,500. Now, it was actually seeing $4,000 peaks in 2018. So that's creeping back up a little bit. And it's actually doing that in some lower grades as well. We saw a 5.0 sale for $2,600, almost reaching the record of $2,850 from 2018.
And that's not all, comic fam. Let's welcome a book that we've chatted about. We've been waiting to join this list. It was going to happen any day. We have Uncanny X-Men issue number 1.
Man, we're talking about the first appearance of the original 5. Cyclops, Beast, Angel, Marvel Girl, Iceman. First appearance of Professor X and Magneto. I knew this was going to make it on the list one of these days. We just needed you guys to make them sales.
Now, this book does not sell often in high grade. It is very expensive, but we are seeing a lot of mutant titles moving so aggressively, people trying to get their hands on any high grade copies and newsstand copies that they can get to because they know mutants are coming to the MCU. We just don't know when. Heck, there was spec that Shia LaBeouf was going to be involved, and that was moving numbers. Let's take a look at this major Silver Age book. We're looking at a 6.0 CGC graded copy that came to the market courtesy of Heritage Auctions this week. And I'll remind the community that a 6.0 copy's record was $13,500, and that was shattered this week with a new record at $15,600. And that's not all, because we have a 1.5 graded copy, low grade, but up from numbers that were once $3,375, now selling for $3,750.
Tom, you want to hear some of my personal numbers on X-Men 1?
Do it.
Yeah, just to kind of put this stuff into perspective, I bought an X-Men 1 1.0 for $600 from the CGC forums back in like 2014, 2015. I bought a 3.5 from my boy 4 Comics for $1,800. So these prices are astronomical compared to what it was selling for just a few years ago.
At the list at number 5, we have Kang the Conqueror making his way in from the future. We have Avengers number 8 landing on the list. And this is a fun one to talk about now, Gem, because after we chatted about this book being my personal favorite villain spec, we then got rumors of this character making an appearance in Ant-Man 3, courtesy of Jonathan Majors. By the time we had edited last week's video, Jonathan Majors went on a Tonight Show and seemingly commented on his appearance as Kang, but he didn't necessarily confirm it.
Yeah, we didn't even have that clip in the video. I had to text Tom after we recorded it, and I was like, dude, the actor basically just confirmed he's in Ant-Man 3 as Kang. So Tom was like, yo, I'm on it. We're going to edit it into the video, and it worked out perfectly.
That's right. But then after rewatching that a few times, he doesn't like actually come out to say it. So I'm a little not sure at this point, but this is making its way onto the list because we are still seeing some aggressive speculation happening behind this Silver Age goodie. Now, this week, we're definitely seeing this book slow down a little bit, but it's still trending, and we still have some numbers to report that are very impressive. Let's actually kick them low-grade copies, the more affordable copies. A 1.0 CGC graded copy back in February would go for $86. We have a new 1.0 sale at $162, near doubling it. A 3.0 is up from its prior record at $266, selling for $345 this week. A 5.5 a week prior went for $650, this week going for $989. Now we have an 8.0. This is the most aggressive movement in the market over the last 7 days. One selling for $1,299 just a week ago, now going for $1,620. People want this time-traveling menace to make his way to the screen, and I'm all for it.
I definitely think Jonathan Majors was confirming with that little blurb because he didn't deny it. He said, I heard the same thing you heard. So it's kind of like confirming it to me, but we'll see.
Comic fam, what do you think in the comment section below? Let us know, and hit him with number 4 on the list, Gem, because we have another mutant book on the list.
Yeah, man, I'm a little perplexed, man. Giant Size X-Men #1 is number 4 on the list. And we always like to kind of say it's more affordable than X-Men 1. But the reality is it's selling for X-Men 1 numbers. Now, this is the first appearance of a ton of characters. We know Colossus, Storm, Thunderbird, Nightcrawler, first Snicked, first Krakoa, but it's been selling really high and high grade. So we had a 9.8 sale, white pager, that sold for $19,200 at the Heritage Platinum Sessions Comics and Comic Art Signature Auction. And if you remember, that's up from an all-time high of $16,257. Last week, we saw a 9.8 with off-white pages sell for $18,075, justifying that big $19,000 sale because page quality matters in these high-grade books. We have 4 new record breakers in lower grades. We have a CGC 8.5 copy that sold for $3,800, which is up $400 from the previous record. A 7.5 copy sold for $2,699. That is up from its previous sale of $2,160. We have a 7.0 that sold for $3,050, which is up almost $800 from its previous sale. And then lastly, a lower grade 4.5 copy sold for $1,526, followed by another $1,545 sale, which is up from where it was prior at $1,350. I think the thing is we just don't see as many X-Men 1 sales, and the Giant Size book have been selling like crazy, but you can see they're reaching those X-Men 1 numbers in those high grades. Anyway, what do we got for number 3 on the list?
Number 3 on the list is the book that we had to bring our first guest onto the mic to discuss about because it made so much news, so much buzz, that people are still going, what the heck is this? And we're talking about Bad Ideas, courtesy of Dinesh Shandasani, the producer of Bloodshot, The Witcher, that put out a book that no one knew to expect. We have Hero Trade issue number 1 making the list at number 3.
This is a book that I had no idea about. I never heard anything about this book. I was asking Tom, why is this even on the list? And I still don't know if I really feel like it deserves its spot on the list yet, but it does prove its worth with its sales. The same reason why we have a lot of these books on this list. So we actually had to get the creator on the show to explain it to us. You can check the video in the link description below for yourself. But yeah, man, it's making a lot of noise.
This was a very special occurrence, something that I've never seen actually take place in my time covering the comic book market. This issue was not just a marketing decision. Obviously, there's hype, there's buzz around a production company from someone who is actively bringing the Gideon Falls series to the screen. Of course, but this is more akin to a thank you variant that like Todd McFarlane would do. This was given to stores. It was printed at a low rate of $250 and distributed to under $200 so that those stores would have something that they could bring to the market and sell for themselves. So all these prices may reflect collectors who are hungry to get their hands on the first collectible from this publishing company. It also is something that was really nice to have been done to LCSs across the country. We saw this book sell out the gate for $300. Then, by the time we were chatting with Dinesh on the mic, we were seeing sales in the $600 to $700 range. We are seeing highs at $800 right now, and they are averaging at $700. That, coupled with the fact that we have some major announcement of major independent creators joining this team, names such as Matt Kint and Jeff Lemire. Yeah, the fact that there's someone from Hollywood that's orchestrating all of this makes all of these books extra intriguing.
All right, number 2 on the list is a book that recently made its way onto the list. It was number 1 one of these weeks. It's the king of the Copper Age, the king of independent comic books, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 1. It had monster sales eclipsing its previous records. We're talking about 2 weeks back when a 9.4 copy sold for $31,000 in a private transaction and one that sold for $32,500. The previous record was $17,250, so almost double the amount. Key Collector app is really waiting for someone to drop a 9.8 on the market so we could see a 6-figure sale on this bad boy.
Comic fam, be up on this comic market by utilizing code TOM101 on the best comic book collecting app that exists. Available for both Androids and iPhones, Key Collector Comics is going to up your comic game. Gem, we have a major blue chip book at the list at number 1. The king of key symbiote comic books, we have Venom, making his first appearance in Amazing Spider-Man issue 300.
Yeah, not only is it the first full appearance of Venom, it's a classic Todd McFarlane cover, which is often cover swiped or cover homaged. It's an anniversary issue. It's got so much going for it. A book that really exploded after the 2018 Venom movie was announced and kind of stabilized after the movie was kind of okay and got greenlit for a sequel. The sequel is putting more interest into this Venom book, and we're seeing record-breaking sales.
That, coupled with Null coming in just a couple months, everybody's focused on symbiote keys. Let's take a look at some major numbers and a very impressive record breaker that landed this book at number 1. The 9.8 record breaker for a direct copy was $3,750 that was set just 2 weeks ago. This week, we see a 9.8 sell for, wait for it, $4,950. Gem, hit him with the 9.6 sale.
A 9.6 had a record sale of $1,450, and we just went up $250. Record-breaking sale, $1,700. We also saw a 9.2 sale, almost $200 higher than the previous record, selling at $795, up from where it was at $600. Man, even a 7.5 of this copper/modern book sold for $445 when the previous record was just $375. Why is everybody buying ASM 300?
It's one of the most wanted keys from one of the most respected comic book runs at Marvel. And this right here brings us back to number 10 on the list when we're chatting about newsstands. This particular book is seeing a ×2 multiple for that newsstand copy. I think once we see records broken with that 9.8 newsstand, this direct market copy may see new heights.
I can't believe this is a $5,000 book now.
Crazy sales, man. Comic fam, let me know in the comment section below. What do you think about this list? What do you think about ASM 300 making it at number 1? It'll enter you to win a Peach Momoko variant of Spider-Woman issue number 1. We appreciate your time today. And as always, geek responsibly. Enough said. Comic fam, what'd you think of that video? I think it was pretty all right. We have 2 other videos that you can check out. We appreciate you. We want to make content to entertain you.